Hey guys, so just as a point of clarification, the reason I'm fixing this Mazda, replacing the motor instead of fixing the head, putting a new head gasket on it, or whatever, you know, whether the head's warped, replacing the head, whatever that is, it's by the time you get done with the expense of pulling the head, having everything rehoned, resurfaced, replacing the gasket, the kit, it was just as cheap to go ahead and get the motor. That's why I went ahead and did it. I would not normally have bought this car. Under normal circumstances, I probably would not even have thought about fixing this car. I actually bought the car to give away, to be honest. And now that I've got to put a motor in and whatnot, I can't, you know, obviously I can't do that because I'm going to have too much invested in the car. So, so honestly, just trying to take the most inexpensive route to get this car back on the road and then get it into the hands of somebody that can, you know, actually use the car. So that's why I didn't fix the head. And why I'm going to put another motor in it. Because believe it or not, that's just about the same amount of time and effort. So let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the Mazda build. Mazda 6, first video. You may, if you didn't watch it, we went ahead and did a compression check and checked for spark and a couple other, you know, minor things just to see if the motor was savable, but it doesn't look like that it was. So we're gonna start taking this, you know, doing what we got to do to take this motor out. So let's get after it. I'm thinking I had a bad water pump is why it overheated. Even though this water pump looks pretty new, there's a good bit of corrosion, which is kind of almost impossible to see, on top of the top bolt on this AC compressor. And I had to really soak it down to get it just to come loose, and trying really hard not to break this thing. The only reason, with all this oil on this engine, it must have been leaking a lot of water for a while for this bolt to be rusted. Seems to be coming out okay now. Whew. That made me nervous. And the best thing, you know, I can't tell you, you can do it how you want, but I had to work it back and forth quite a bit to get it to break free. So, and fortunately it did. If I had been using and one of the reasons I don't like the impact on this stuff, especially on these older cars, is, you know, you can tell one of the best things to do is, you know, go ahead and get it broke free, and then, you know, it makes sense to use one. But I just don't, because I've broken enough bolts over the years and stripped enough, you know, snuff bolts that for me it's just not worth the risk. Right here would be an okay spot for one. But by the time I go dig it out, I'll have this done. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the power steering pump and the AC compressor. I'm going to try and get those as out of the way as I possibly can, because I'm going to bring the motor out this way. So I don't need a lot of room. I just need to, you know, trying to make it as painless as possible. I've seen, you know, people bring them out straight up even without taking the radiator off and all that, but that's just how I'm going to do it. If you don't know the car, which I don't, it's a good idea when you're pulling bolts out, especially when they're coming out of the motor or the side of the block or whatever. Make sure the bolts are all the same length, they're different sizes. Kind of make a note of where they were, where they came out of. Might save yourself some heartache when you go to put everything back together. Yep, these are all the same. Isn't that something? I just see how that's all corroded there. It did not want to come free. A lot of buildup. And that's my alarm. Time to go to work, unfortunately. Alright guys, so as you saw, we got the 4 flywheel bolts out. I'm kind of surprised there's only 4. But as you can probably tell, I'm running out of light pretty quick. So this will do it for this evening. We will pick it up in the morning. Alright guys, so just to recap what I've done, you can see I pulled the crank pulley, the alternator, the slack adjuster, and the other idler pulley off, which I didn't video because it was getting dark and I couldn't get the right camera angle. Alright, and I removed the 2 bolts from the exhaust. I'm hoping I can get since I have the front end off of the car, I'm hoping I can get the engine out from the front without having to remove that. I just took the heat shield nuts out so that, or bolts out, so that I could get access to the bolts and the nuts on the exhaust flange. And all the wiring obviously is removed from under here. So all I have left to do is the bolts here on the transmission bell housing. And once I get those removed, I'll remove the bolts from, hold on a minute and I'll show you. Alright, so anyway, I'll remove the engine mount bolts from the passenger side. The ones on the driver's side are connected to the transmission bell housing, so I don't really have to remove those. And there's nothing on the front here. So really all it is the transmission and that motor mount and the exhaust and the drive line. You can't quite see it down there that hold it on, which I've already disconnected from down there. I forgot to show you when I was down there. So anyway, so I get rid of these bell housing bolts all the way around. Once I get those out, it should be ready to pull out. Obviously I'm going to support the engine from underneath, and then I'll bring in my hoist and we'll start bringing it out. Hey guys, so all right, the motor's out. Now we're gonna have to get started doing the swap over, all the different pieces and whatnot that got to come off of it to go on the new motor. So what we'll do in video number 3 is I'll record everything that I'm swapping over, and then I'll record putting the motor back in. So, but hang on a minute and I'll show you. As you can see, the motor's out. Looks pretty good. Well, the old motor doesn't. It's hemorrhaging oil like crazy. But I think I figured out what that is. I had some help from my friend Charlie Bowman to figure out what's causing all that oil. And so I'll talk about that in the next video. But there's the nest that's left over. Again, I did leave the transmission in there. I just, I didn't want to hassle with pulling that out. So really pretty straightforward. Video number 3, we'll go over, doing all the swap over, all the different parts and pieces, and how we're going to do that, get it swapped in. And I really don't want to do much more than 3 videos on this car, but if we have to, we have to. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Maybe hit the notifications. That'd be great. Either way, have a great day. Thanks for watching.